by the time you're done with the program, you'll be able to more than offset the tuition that you paid, and you'll also be able to save some extra money on it.
So hey guys, today we are back with one of the most inspiring story of a graduate student who got into University of Toronto, not from the IIT, not from the NIT, and how he was able to convert this program into a fully funded program. And the most important part is कि for example अगर मुझे आज मेरी अगर जॉब चली जाती है within 2 months if I'm not able to find a job or within right now अगर जॉब मेरी कैंसिल भी हो जाती है, if I cannot find a job within the next 2 or 3 months, I'll have to leave country, leave the United States. But let's see what's the scenario in Canada. So hi Varun, can you please introduce yourself?
So hi Harnoor, my name is Varun Pandya, and I'm an upcoming graduate student at the University of Toronto. And the name of my program is Master of Science in Applied Computing.
Amazing. So सबसे पहले आप बताना, why did you apply to Canada instead of US? Because like आपको पता है like most of the Indian universities all over India, like 50% से ज़्यादा तो US जाती है. You pretty much know.
Yeah.
That, right?
Yeah, that's a big confusion. Like I actually applied to 7 US universities and 3 to 4 Canadian universities. So my first preference was actually US, but then as the situation evolved, I thought that it was better to switch to Canadian universities. And compared to the US universities, I got into better Canadian universities. So that was also a big factor in my decision making.
Yes, I completely agree because University of Toronto has the best computer school all over Canada. So before talking about your journey to University of Toronto, आप बताना a little bit about your background. When did the dream to study abroad started and even your journey before that?
Yeah, so actually I thought about studying abroad right after my 12th standard. So I wanted to do my bachelor's abroad and US was my first option. But after that, my parents convinced me that it was better to do master's abroad than bachelor's. So the journey actually started when I was in 11th grade, and that is when I started focusing on JEE mains and advanced. I joined advanced coaching and everything related to JEE. I was completely into it, but then I actually bombed my JEE mains exam. I only got I got 60 marks less than what I expected. So my dream of going into a really good university in India was it didn't actually go up to my expectations. And even JEE Advanced, I didn't get into a good IIT. I got like marine engineering in some newly opened IIT, so I didn't want to go there. So instead, I chose to stay in my home city and apply to a private engineering college over here. So I did my bachelor's from PDPU, which is a college in Ahmedabad. And it's a private engineering college. I don't even know which tier the university belongs to, but I'm pretty sure that it's on the lower side. And when I was thinking about applying to universities abroad, many people told me that you have to have the IIT or NIT tag to get into the really good schools. And that is actually when I started thinking about how this would turn out for me. But then I started preparing for the applications in my 6th semester. So that is when I got my research papers published. And I also did like 2 or 3 internships. And I gave my GRE in 6th semester. I gave IELTS in 7th semester. So the entire preparation began after 6th semester. And it took me around, 8 months to actually get the profile ready for application.
Wow. It must be a difficult journey. पर आपको किस point पे लगा that you are a deserving candidate for University of Toronto? मतलब एक myth सा लग जाता है ना, हमें लगता है कि घोड़े ही जाते हैं ऐसे universities में. So कब click किया कि yes, I should apply to University of Toronto?
I actually didn't believe when I got my acceptance letter because I thought that only the best and brightest of minds were able to get into such top level universities. But that there was this thing inside me which wanted to be, in a really top university. After I bombed my JEE mains, I was like, this is my second chance. I have to prove myself. And that is why I started working hard after my 6th semester. And it was enough for me to get into such a top tier university.
So मैंने सुना है for like top schools like University of Toronto, they have written that they need like exceptional work experience, like 2 to 3 years of work experience before they can even admit you. So आपके पास था? Did you consider gaining work experience?
No, I actually didn't have any work experience. I was very, excited to get into a top tier university right after my bachelor's. I didn't want to waste any time here. So that is why I applied directly after my bachelor's. And they have mentioned on the website that this is an applied research program, and that is why work experience is crucial. So if you have 2 to 5 years of work experience, then it makes you a competitive applicant. But if you are coming directly from your bachelor's, then the odds are against you, because in the website they have clearly mentioned that they only admit a small minority of students directly from the bachelor's in this particular program.
Wow.
So yeah, it gets difficult if you don't have work experience, but you can have relevant research experience as a substitute, and again that raises the odds that you have of getting into the program.
Mind blowing. So like even being from a like a tier 3 college, आपने मतलब research experience ले ही लिया. So how did you manage? मतलब did you like get into these opportunities on your own, या फिर आपको मतलब spoon feed किया गया था अपने कॉलेज में कि ये लो research paper, मतलब ये
No,
project
no,
ले
no.
लो?
My college actually, research is like the last priority of my college. They don't really care if you do research or not, and that is why you have to take the matter into your own hands, and that is what I realized in fifth semester. So when I went into sixth semester, I thought that I had to get like one or two research papers published to make myself competitive, and that is why I started writing research papers on my own. I didn't collab with any of my professors because I didn't want to give any credit to them since I was doing all the work. So that is why I did two research papers, and these were independent research papers, and they were published in international conferences. I actually went to China to publish one of the papers. I think that is very important to have such an exposure where you can, really go to an international level conference and present your paper there.
Yeah, that is an important step to replace some work experience and to get to these universities right after your undergrad. Finally, now let's talk about the opportunities you get in Canada as compared to US. So in this recession, क्योंकि US का recession is biggest all over the world, सबसे ज़्यादा मतलब unemployment यहाँ पे है. So in this situation, I think Canada has a biggest edge, क्योंकि यहाँ पे होता है कि 2 months में या 3 months में अगर आपको job नहीं मिलती तो आपको निकाल दिया जाता है. But what's the case at Canada? मतलब अगर आपको ग्रेजुएट होने के बाद कितना टाइम होता है आपके पास टू फाइंड जॉब?
Yeah, so the work permit in Canada is actually called post graduation work permit, and you can have it sanctioned for up to 3 years.
Wow.
So the length of the work permit depends on the length of your program. So the minimum length is of 8 months. So your program should be at least of 8 months, and if your program is of 8 months, then you get 1 year work permit. And then if you have like a 2 years program, then it is up to 3 years the work permit that you can get. And the best part about this work permit is that it's not contingent upon you getting a job related to your master's or your bachelor's field. You can do any job. You don't even have a timeline where you have to find a job. You can work in any field you want. You can change fields. You can change your positions. There is no restriction on that. Your post-graduation work permit is still valid even if you don't have a job related to your master's or bachelor's.
Yeah.
And that is the best part about this.
Yeah, मतलब इसका मतलब है even after doing like masters in computational technology या फिर computer science, you can become a truck driver या फिर आप किसी भी field में मतलब job कर सकते हो, and work permit भी valid, and उसके through भी आपको PR मिल सकती है, right? That is big win-win situation for all the students going to Canada. So
so if you're, I'll just like to point one thing out. So if you're an international student who is coming to Canada for a master's, then it's like a 99% chance that you will get a PR. Whereas in US, it doesn't matter which university you're from, whether it's a top level university or an average level university, your chances of getting an H1B are still the same. And that is where I think that US immigration lacks a bit of justice.
Now let's talk about कितना difficult होता है to make it to top tier Canadian universities versus top tier US universities. So GRE requirement or work experience requirement कितनी होती है as compared to like US?
Yeah, so talking about Canadian universities, a lot of them don't ask for GRE. GRE is not mandatory. I think only University of Waterloo has GRE mandatory for its computer science program. But when you're applying to University of Toronto or UBC or any other like top 5 universities in Canada, they say that competitive applicants have a GRE score of around 325. And if you don't have a GRE score, then your chances of getting into the program are very less. They accept your application, but they won't be admitting you into the program.
And now let's finally talk about the scope of getting fully funded opportunity at University of Toronto and some of the best universities in Canada. So आप बताना कितनी फीस होती है and how you can convert it to like fully funded ताकि you actually make money rather than paying money to the university.
So I'll just give a brief about the program. So this program is of 16 months. You have to do 8 months of advanced coursework, after which you have an 8 months applied research internship. And they have tie-ups with companies like Uber, Google, and all of those companies. And they give you research projects, and they take you as full-time paid interns. So the pay is around $64,000 to $70,000 for the duration of 8 months,
Wow.
Canadian dollars, and the tuition fee for the entire program is around $60,000. So by the time you are done with the program, you'll be able to more than offset the tuition that you paid, and you'll also be able to save some extra money on it.
Amazing.
And
मतलब
yeah,
yeah, like fully funded. But initially आपको थोड़े बहुत पैसे देने पड़ते हैं. What's the initial amount
yeah.
to go to Canada?
Yeah, so initially the first year tuition fee is around $42,000 Canadian dollars, and apart from that you have to pay like $10,000 GIC, which is mandatory for students coming there to deposit as living expenses. And once you are done with those expenses, you can go there, and then the next installment comes in the next year. So by the time you pay your next installment, you'll be already earning more money then you have to pay for your next installment. So you will be able to offset the second installment without paying any extra money. And after 8 months, you'll be also be able to offset the first year tuition fee. So that is one of the main advantages of this program, because a lot of programs in top Canadian universities are completely research-based programs. And I personally didn't want to go into research. I wanted to go into a more applied research field where we can work in companies and actually work on projects that just don't sit on table and they are there for the 2 years. So I wanted to apply to such programs where they actually focus on applied research, and that is why I applied to this program. And the best part about this program is the return on investment. So it's like after 16 months, you won't have any debt on you.
That is mind blowing. Well, initially थोड़ी investment है, but before you graduate, it's fully funded. You don't have to care about कि कोई मतलब debt, bank में loan, मतलब इतनी tension बाद में नहीं है.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and also you are eligible for a lot of scholarships there. So there is this SGS scholarship which you can get before you are admitted into the program. You're automatically nominated into it, and it is around 10,000 Canadian dollars. And apart from there is also this Vector in AI scholarship, which for which you have to show that you have an inclination towards artificial intelligence. And if you are selected, then you also get another $10,000 for that. And after you go into the program and after you go there, you are eligible for many other awards and scholarships. So if you have a good academic record, then you will be able to get really good scholarships.
That's mind blowing, because बाकी US universities में क्या होता है, you have to look out for opportunity in terms of research, TARA, ताकि आप अपने program को fully funded कर दो. But आपको कनाडा में guarantee है कि ये program में आपको मतलब salary मिलेगी या job मिलेगी? Is it a guarantee?
They have tie-ups with all the companies, and they provide research projects. So these are pre-approved research projects that have to go through a sort of administrative process. And once they are approved, each and every student gets placed through the university into the internship. And to the date, they've claimed that they have a 100% placement record, with each and every student getting paid for more than their tuition fee. And the best part about this is that once you're done with your internship, you can directly get a job offer from that company. And even if you don't get a job offer, which happens quite less, but even if you don't get a job offer, then they still assist you with all of the placements. And all of the US companies that have their offices in Canada, all of them come to University of Toronto. So job is not the thing that you should be worried about after you graduate from such universities. It's just a matter of graduating. That's it.
Finally, what's the conclusion? What do you think are the advantages you got by choosing a university in Canada over choosing a university in US?
So the biggest factor for deciding US and Canada for me was the return on investment. And of course, on top of that, getting into the best university that I can possibly get into. So University of Toronto is ranked 10th in the entire world. Its computer science department is ranked 10th in the entire world. So you get the benefit of rankings. And on top of that, you are also admitted into a program where you are able to retrieve the amount that you have invested into very quickly. And after you graduate, you can make salaries which are comparable to the US market, although they are not quite up to that notch, but still you can get around like 120, 125K just after graduating, and it goes and increases from there on. And also, if you're from an average university in Canada or any of the colleges, still you are very much eligible for the post-graduation work permit, and you have plenty of time to find jobs. Even if you are unemployed for 2 or 3 months, then you don't have to worry like you have to in US. In US, there is always this sword hanging above your head, which can fall anytime. and that is why I think that Canada is much better in terms of security as well as getting ample opportunities in your respective fields.
कंप्लीटली एग्री. एक सेंस ऑफ सिक्योरिटी जो मिलती है आपको, दैट इज इनक्रेडिबल. जैसे कि मुझे अभी होता है, मैं लास्ट मोमेंट पे मुझे अभी भी डर लगता है कि अगर कंपनी ने मुझे अगर आज किक आउट कर दिया, मेरे पास सिर्फ 2 महीने रह जाएंगे जॉब ढूंढने के लिए, वो बहुत बहुत टेंस सिचुएशन होती है. सो दैट सिचुएशन इज नॉट एग्जिस्टिंग देयर, सो इट्स इनक्रेडिबल. Perfect. So what will be your final tips for the students who are not from IIT, NIT, BITS, etc., to get into these top tier Canadian universities?
So you have to get your profile right. So get your CGPA right. You have to have about 9 out of 10. Then you need to give GRE. Although they mentioned that it is not mandatory, still if you want to be competitive, you have to give GRE. Try to aim for a score about 320. And after that, you give IELTS. You need to have at least 7 bands in IELTS to actually make an application. So try to get like 7.5 to 8 bands in that. And these are the basic aspects of your profile. After that, the thing which matters the most is your work experience, relevant work experience. It should be relevant to the field that you're applying. And if you don't have the relevant work experience, then you need to have research experience and get 1 or 2 research papers published in well-reputed conferences, because the reputation of the conference and the impact of your paper matters more than the number of papers that you've published. So get like high quality papers published in good research conferences. And also if you have work experience, then it is quite difficult to get into such programs, because University of Toronto or UBC or U Waterloo, any of these top competitive schools really pay a lot of attention to the research aspect of your profile, and that is why you need to have relevant work experience as well as research experience if you want to make yourself competitive, because this program has around 1,000 applications and the acceptance rate is only 5 to 10%. So you need to be quite competitive with your profile. And in the end, you have an interview after you're selected. In that interview, you have to make sure that you present yourself properly, and they'll ask you about your research experience and all of the things that you have mentioned in your resume, and they'll ask you why you are perfect fit for this program. So make sure that you have a good answer that is honest, so that you can get into this program.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Varun, for sharing your valuable information. I hope this video adds a lot of value to the prospective students who want to make it to top tier Canadian schools. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.